Okay friends, now let us understand how we will control fire. So if the fire is small, we can control it on our own. We can add water to the fire, right, and we can douse it out, or we can cover it with a blanket and douse it out. We are going to see the scientific reason behind how fire can be extinguished. But if the fire is large, we have to call the fire service, the fire department, and the number of the fire department is 101. So when you dial 101, you will immediately reach the emergency number for fire. It's a fire emergency number, and when you dial this number, the fire department becomes active, and these guys, right, rush along with this fire brigade, right, and they rush to our service, and they will come and help and put out the fire. You can see this up here, the fire department coming with the cranes and putting out the fire, right. This building, you see this building, and this building is under fire, and the fire department is helping out, assisting it in putting it away, right. You see they are spraying water on this. Water at high pressure is being sprayed up here. So when a fire brigade arrives, what do you do? Or what does it do? Sorry, it pours water on the fire. And what will water do? Water will cool the combustible material so that its temperature is brought below its ignition temperature. See, water is going to cool the combustible substance to bring the temperature below the ignition temperature. So it prevents the fire from spreading. Water vapor also surround the combustible material, helping in cutting off the supply of air, right. They cut off the supply of air. So fire is extinguished. We have just talked a little earlier about the requirements for producing fire. The three requirements for producing fire are fuel, air to supply oxygen, and heat to raise the temperature of a fuel beyond the ignition temperature. So there should be a fuel involved or a combustible substance. There should be supply of air, and the heat should be involved so that the temperature of that fuel can be raised beyond the ignition temperature. So to control fire, we can just remove one or more of these requirements. Either we can remove the supply of fuel or the supply of air, or we can remove the heat or reduce the heat. So the job of a fire extinguisher is to cut off the supply of air, that's number one, or to bring down the temperature of the fuel, or both. Now notice that the fuel in most cases cannot be eliminated because it is already burning. So if a building is burning, or a building catches fire, the whole building itself is the fuel. So you cannot remove the fuel. The fuel is going to stay, but either you can remove the air supply, or you can raise the temperature required for ignition point. So what will happen? The fire will be doused out. Let us see about a fire extinguisher. Right? Now the most common fire extinguisher is water. That's what we saw in this diagram also. No? The fire brigade people, you see, they are spraying water up here. You can see water is being sprayed here. But water works only when things like wood and paper are on fire. If electrical equipment is on fire, water may conduct electricity and harm those trying to douse the fire. So water is also not suitable. Water is not suitable for fires involving oil and petrol. Because why? Oil will float on water. Even petrol and oil will float on water. So ultimately what happens when you spray water, water will remain at the bottom and oil will come on top. So the fire is not going to go away. The fire will continue occurring. Right? Why? Because water is heavier than oil. So it sinks below the oil and oil keeps on burning on top. So for fires involving electrical equipment and inflammable materials like petrol, carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide is the best extinguisher. Right? Which extinguisher? We use carbon dioxide. Why? Because carbon dioxide, being heavier than oxygen, covers the fire like a blanket. Since the contact between the fuel and oxygen is now cut off, the fire is controlled. The added advantage of carbon dioxide is that in most cases it does not harm the electrical equipment. So we use the cylinders of carbon dioxide. So this cylinder is a fire extinguisher. It's written up here. It's a fire extinguisher, and we put it in our home and even office space, even schools you'll find it at different places. Okay, so how do we get the supply of carbon dioxide? So it can be stored at high pressure as a liquid in cylinders. In what form is the LPG stored in cylinders? The same thing, it is liquefied petroleum gas, so in the liquid form. So when released from the cylinder, carbon dioxide expands enormously in volume and cools down, so it not only forms a blanket around the fire, it also brings down the temperature of the fuel. Have you seen solid form of carbon dioxide? Solid form of carbon dioxide is called dry ice. So actually it is so cold, the solid form of carbon dioxide is so cold, it is like ice only. You can hold it in your hand, it's ice. The ice cream makers keep dry ice with them because there's no water involved, it's carbon dioxide, it will evaporate. So what happens? Carbon dioxide will, number one, expand, its volume, it cools down, it forms a blanket, it also brings down the temperature. That is why it is an excellent fire extinguisher. This is the give reason. Why is carbon dioxide an excellent fire extinguisher? Another way to get carbon dioxide is to release a lot of dry powder of chemicals like sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, or potassium bicarbonate. Right? These chemicals will give off carbon dioxide. Something like this may occur. So sodium bicarbonate, that is NaHCO3, when we heat it, right, when we heat it, it converts into sodium hydroxide, carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide gas is liberated. That is why when we spray or when we sprinkle powders, dry powder of chemicals like sodium bicarbonate or even potassium bicarbonate, we will get carbon dioxide. Right? Okay, so friends, we end up here. Now we'll take over in the next chapter. Bye.